Hey friends, I wanted to talk to you about something I'm really, really excited about. My podcast and really me in general is sponsored now by Ground News. Now, Ground News is absolutely amazing. If you haven't heard about it, you're able to see from any article that you find or any article that's on Ground News, you get to see what businesses own the news corporations that are reporting the article you're reading. Also, it shows political bias, how which way does the news lean, and you're able to get out of an echo chamber, right? And the amazing part of this is, folks, is if you use my link, you will get 40% off of your annual subscription. It's amazing. You should definitely try it out, and you definitely need to look into the bias. All right, so I'll cut to the chase. What you need to do to get this amazing 40% off 1 year plan from Ground News, and also they give you a trial. Ground News is amazing like that, but for you to subscribe, you need to use my special link to get the discount, which is in the description of the episode, wherever I'm at. It's in the description. Or if you're driving or something and you can't see it, just remember to go to www.dewey.news, and it will redirect you to where you need to be. So that's www.dewey.news, and you'll be directed to my partnership website to get your 40% off, and also support the Dewey Show. I love you, folks. PBS, PBS, NPR, and just a lot of other places where we can get news. Now, not all of PBS's funding is funded by the government or us. They do have sponsorships, and they do openly accept donations. So if you have a few bucks extra, definitely think about becoming a PBS donator, because PBS does a lot of good. And I'm a 90s kid. I grew up on, Mr. Rogers. I grew up on Arthur. I love those shows. I would always watch them when I was at my grandma's house, because she had that antenna TV. And, there were I think 15 channels, maybe. But, yeah, I wanted to mention something. This is where this comes from, cutting the funding to these. It is on page 246 of Project 2025, which we, and by we I mean people on the left, have been telling Americans that Donald Trump, was going to be implementing this fucking Nazi book. In my opinion, it is a Nazi book. It says, a demonstrated pattern of bias. Conservatives will thus reward a president who eliminates this tyrannical solution or salutation. I don't know. It's blocked by something. I'm sorry, I can't see. PBS and NPR do not even bother to run programming that would attract conservatives. Because, and this is me jumping in now, and it's because conservatives view NPR and PBS, both news stations, both do other things as well. They view those as liberal. And NPR, both of them are in the middle of the reporting scale, except for, they lean slightly left. And I think that reason is because the average American is left of center. I think that's how it is. People are like, well, why did Donald Trump win the election? Well, because not enough Americans voted. A lot more Americans should have voted, and we probably wouldn't be in this mess. It's not 50-50 like you think. So, there's not 175 million Americans that voted for Donald Trump. That's just not how it happened. Donald Trump won, as far as I know. But anyway, let's get back into this. As Pew Research demonstrated in 2014, 25% of PBS's audience is mostly liberal, and 35% is consistently liberal. That is 60% liberal compared to 15% conservative. Maybe that's because liberals like to learn. That's probably it. That's my note. It's probably because we like to learn, right? We don't like to, I'm not going to say we don't like to, because that happens to everybody, but it happens to conservatives more easily because conservatives, and I'm not, I'm just saying, conservatives that I have spoke to about this, they are happy with the news stations that they like. They will not go elsewhere to seek, to see if that information is reported correctly or if it's worded correctly. Because let's say, let's use this as an example. Okay, let's say Donald Trump is on in the front yard of the White House, and he's walking and he stumbles. Okay, he tripped on a rock, let's say, and he makes him stumble. Right, it's definitely going to be covered in the news, no matter what. Like when Joe Biden fell off of his bike because he was hauling ass and he didn't want to hit that reporter. People on the right were like, "Oh no, he's just an old dumb son of a bitch," and people on the left, I mean, we watched the video, but yeah, he was coming in hot there with the reporters, so I think he decided to fall instead of hit one of them. But let's say Trump stumbles, right? Everybody sees it. A left publication is likely to say Donald Trump, seemingly drunk on the front lawn, whatever, and the right will be like, Donald Trump kicked a rock out of the way and it made him stumble. Something silly like that. I don't know. I don't know why there would be rocks on the White House lawn, but yeah, anyway, that's just how it is. And that sucks because during the Reagan administration, we got rid of what was called the Fairness Doctrine. Now, conservative, liberal, somewhere in between or somewhere outside of those two things, whichever you are, no matter your political affiliation, if you don't know what the Fairness Doctrine is, look it up. It was essential for news, and what it required from news is that they had to report, when they were reporting on something, they had to have a conservative viewpoint and a liberal viewpoint. That way you could see the whole picture, right? So you could see the entire picture. Now, politically, I am an independent. I consider myself a Democrat, but I don't want to join any parties, if that makes any sense. Not until we get like ranked voting or something like that, because I think that if we did ranked voting, we would be so much more successful as a country. And yes, that does include getting rid of the Electoral College. But anyway, let's continue. NPR's audience is even to the left of that, with 67% liberal, 41% consistently liberal, and 26% mostly liberal, compared with 12% conservative, blah, 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 blah. That may be an acceptable business model for MSNBC or CNN, but not for a taxpayer-subsidized broadcaster. Now, who the fuck are you to say that? Because if you look at the grand scheme of things, there are the blue states that, this is just a fact, it's not me attacking anybody or pulling something out of thin air. Blue states produce more money to the federal government. And red states often cost money, meaning the red states get welfare from the blue states. That's not me being an asshole. That's just fact, and that's what I like about facts. You can't change the facts. I can't change the facts. They just are. And anybody that wants to look that up, look it up, and you'll find that I'm right. California, for example, which a lot of people on the right hate for whatever reason, probably because they allow gay people there and, trans people to live there free of ridicule and hate in most areas of California. They are the fourth largest economy. They just beat out Japan. They are now the fourth largest economy. And to me, I really don't know what more you could ask for. But yes, so they want to cut the taxpayer-funded shows like Sesame Street, which has... If you're a young mother and you have one or two kids, right, or more even, it's going to be a lot... It's helpful to have shows like Sesame Street that help you with your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s, because you can sit the kids in front of the TV and not worry about, like a Quentin Tarantino movie coming on or something. You know that they're going to be educated because it's PBS. You know that your kid's going to get educated. And so it teaches them how to talk and all this other stuff. How to be kind. It teaches them empathy and all kinds of stuff. I mean, to this day, I always recommend to any of my friends when they have a kid or any of my family, I always say, when they start wanting to watch TV, you should get them onto Mr. Rogers and, let them watch that, because Mr. Rogers, he builds confidence, and he allows he wants kids to accept themselves just the way that they are. And to me, when I was little, I didn't have a lot of friends because I have a stutter and people were dicks. Kids are dicks. That's just the truth. We all know that. I had a couple. Well, by the time I was in second grade, I was doing okay friend-wise. But before that, I had one or two close friends, and that was it, which was all I really needed. But shout out to Travis if you're listening to this. He was my homie when I was in kindergarten, first and second grade, and then we moved away. But anyway, PBS is a public service, and so is NPR, whether you like it or not. And I do believe that NPR is a necessity because these privately owned companies like Fox News, MSNBC, there are very, very few regulations around that because it's the freedom of the press and stuff like that. But obviously, I can't go on MSNBC claiming I have, pictures of. I was gonna say Trump in his underwear, but the thought of that made me start going down a tunnel where I was like, well, wait, they're going to be like, why do you have a picture of Trump in his underwear? How'd you get that? And it's just, this is what happens when I smoke weed. My mind just spirals. But no, if I go on there and slander somebody, I could get sued, and so could the news station. So that's a regulation in a way, right? You just can't slander a person, which Trump does all the time, but he can't get sued because he's the president. But I also want you folks to realize that bringing Christianity into our schools, that is going before the Supreme Court, and I will report on it. I don't know how they're going to, I really don't know how they're going to rule on this because I know that they're trying to pick their fights with Trump because, some of the justices care about democracy. A lot of them want it to go into a Trumpian dictatorship, totalitarianism. And I've even asked Trump supporters, I said, what if he was president for life? Would you be okay with that? Would you enjoy that? And almost always they say yes. It'd be fine. And I was like, okay, so would he be like a king and, get a crown? Or would we just put him in like a military uniform like all the other dictators? They're like, wait, that would make him a dictator. And I said, yeah, it would, because the only way that he would be able to remain in office is if the Constitution is suspended. And a lot of our rights, when you suspend... so what happened? Okay, let's see. If Donald Trump were to declare martial law, what that does is that suspends habeas corpus, which is the basic rights that we have as people, right? It in a way suspends the Constitution, but there are legal requirements for how the president has to go about it. And Donald Trump, everyone is talking to him, recommending to him that he should go forth with this plan and declare martial law under the Insurrection Act by just saying that there's an emergency at the border or something. And that just is going to take a lot of our rights away. And as you heard on my show, hopefully if you listened to it yesterday, that's what they're about. They want to take rights away. They don't want to add rights. And when I see that in government, I don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat trying to do it, they lose any support that they had, if they had any in the first place, from me. There's a Democrat in Washington State in their the state politics that said that they wanted to, if you're Catholic, you go to the confession booth, and anything you say there's like they view it as like a holy trust. They view it as like a trust that should not be broken. If you're a priest and you break the seal of the confessional, you can actually be kicked out of. You can actually lose your priesthood over that and be excommunicated. Because that's how serious the church takes that. The Democrat lady wanted to make it where if somebody confesses a crime to a priest, they have to be mandated to report that crime, and no priest would want to do that. So there would priests would be taken into jail if that law were to pass in Washington. And I will say this: I am not for any type of that at all, because it chips away at our First Amendment right. I don't care if it's in Washington. I don't care. I don't want that to happen. Priests are mandated reporters, by the way. If a kid goes to them and tells them that they're being abused, the good ones anyway, I should say, report it to law enforcement, right? That's what the good ones do. There are a lot of shady fucks that are in the Catholic Church, and yeah, they've got a lot of work to do. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to dismiss all the sins that they've committed or anything like that. I'm simply just telling you, saying what needs to be said. But yeah, I'm not for any rights of ours being chipped away, taken away, anything like that. And that's what that law would do. And so I am against that person. And I would not vote for that person if I ever had to vote for that person. I live in Utah, so like that's a little bit far away from me. But anyway, yeah. So this is another example of 2025 being implicated in our government. So I'm not too big to say I told you so, but I fucking told you so. For those who believe Donald Trump when he said, "Oh, I've never heard about Project 2025. I don't know what it is." Well, for a guy that's not heard about it, you're pretty fucking supportive of it. Anyway, folks, I love you. I hope you're doing great. Please support my sponsor, Ground News. You can just go to www.dewey.news, and it will direct you right to my link, and everything's good. So head over to www.dewey.news. That's DEWEY.news, and it will take you right to my link with Ground News, and then you get 40% off, folks. You get 40% off. Isn't that amazing? All right, folks, I love you. Have a great day. Be good to each other, and remember that love is everything.